And that 100,000 naira figure you place it on, let's compare it with what Labour's template is. A family of 6, 4 children, and a mother and a father. 100,000 naira, looking at the inflation that we are facing currently. How will that work?
Yeah, if we have to look at it that way, this is also time for people to know that we need to work on thin budgets. You know, we can't get it laboriously or elaborately as the case may be. 100,000, I'll say, is manageable, in quotes, you know, for families. It's not something that I strongly believe that it's sustainable for families, but manageable. Let us know these two factors. You know, manageable in the sense that, you know, through this thick and thin period, it's also for families, for individuals to think of other means of survival, like cutting down personal budget, which I think everybody is already doing.
Mm. And when you talk about manageable, some will say that this brings about the discussion of the cost of governance. Since we're all managing, we might as well also extend it to, you know, governance. But let's talk about the viability of a state to, you know, pay what is agreed. If you look at the IGR, the internally generated revenue of some states are even larger than some countries and have not been able to, you know, put to use some of the resources that they have. Should these states in the first place exist?
No, I didn't get the last part, please.
What I'm trying to say is that since we are looking at factors such as the viability and the sustainability of state to pay, and of course, you know that there are some states that have not been able to, you know, afford the current minimum wage, and that's forming part of the conversations. But we're also talking about the productivity of workers in each state and how the state governors have been able to manage them in relation to the internally generated revenue of each state. We have some states that have been able to, you know, produce and procure wealth without having to rely on allocations.
Yeah, I think we should have a national template for IGR, you know, across the states. One thing that should be very clear is that some states will be able to afford this 100,000 we're talking about, some will not be able to afford it. Now, it behoves on each state to look inward. There is no state in Nigeria, and I repeat, there is no state in Nigeria that does not have potential to generate money. Even Northeast, Northwest, everywhere. It's just that most times we focus more on FAC. The state government focus more on FAC rather than, you know, developing the state to generate more revenue. So this is a time for every tier of government to drive, especially the state and the local government, to come together, work together, and generate more revenue. There are lots of potentials. There are a lot of commodities that Nigeria can rely on across the 6 geopolitical zone that can generate large revenue for them. But unfortunately, you know, there is no focus on this. So I think states should focus on revenue generation this time around.
Absolutely, but when we've been talking about the same thing over and over, you know, again, you know, all through the decades, and then it's saying that advising states to look inward and look towards generating more revenues internally. But does this speak to the followers, or let's say the electorate, in deciding who has not someone who has the gift of the gab during electioneering, but being able to just juxtapose what they say vis-a-vis what they do? Because if the electorate are not exactly doing you know, their own due diligence before electing anyone into the office, do you not feel that, you know, we are taking it back to the electorate who will bring someone into the office and then now goes back to be fighting the same person because the person is not delivering on the dividends of good governance vis-a-vis this minimum wage we are talking about?
Okay, thank you for that. You see, one of the things we lack in this part of the world is accountability. You know, and we have seasonal electorates. these are electorates that only enjoy pre-elections. After election, they suffer. I'm very sorry to use that word. You know, they don't hold people accountable to what they want to, you know, to achieve for them. We have short memories. People come, they give us a lot of promises, a lot of things, but we don't hold them accountable, asking them to achieve all these mandates. We don't even track. Even themselves, they even forget some of those things, and life becomes normal. You know, we have people that just want to occupy position, and we have electorate that's, you know, we have tribal, religious, and ethnic sentiments. You know, there should be a standard where we need to assess people on the potential of building their immediate economy. But unfortunately, if we bring it to the electorate, I'm very sorry to say, we have electorates who are even afraid to hold people accountable for what they have said. So for us, it's a long journey on that part, sincerely. That is my opinion.
And according to what the FEC said, this was stepped down to ensure a wider consultation between the president, state governors, private sector, and also local government. And that's where I'm bringing my question from. Amidst the calls for local government autonomy, how will these consultations, you know, impact on you know, quality of service delivery in the local governments?
Well, the local government, I'll say, the impact on quality of service in the local government is that the local government should improve on the quality of services they deliver. There are certain benefits that go to local government, but what is the local government giving back to the people, you know, in the environment where they are, at the grassroots level, you know? And I sincerely think, again, one of the impact this should have on the local government is to set up structures of having what we call grassroots economy. Grassroots economy is the economy that looks at the potential within the local government and harness resources together to build these capabilities, so that even within the local government can generate, you know, revenue for itself by building its local economy. So for me, the quality of service for local government should increase, and it should be better. But again, coming back to the issue of accountability, who holds the local government accountable? You know, if you go to so many local governments, I'm sorry to say, apart from states like Lagos State or maybe Rivers State, if you go to some local government, barely will you see people there. They only come there on salary days and everybody goes away. You know, what do they really deliver to their people? I think we should start questioning that.
And for everything